Hey, it's Rachel Hatfield, and I wanted to talk to you about the sense of control. And I'm laughing because I'm trying to make this video about control, and I'm like sitting outside on my porch, and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be quiet, maybe have some frogs singing in the background, and the the there's some and all this stuff, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm going to talk to people about their sense of control, and sometimes we can have some certain things that we're in control over, and sometimes we can't. But the biggest thing that happened was, one, my husband and kids decided they're going to run out and check on the chickens, and they're all running and playing, so that's loud. And then whenever they're like, okay, we're going to go in so Mom can make this video, then a huge plane flies overhead and and makes it loud again. And then the frogs decided they're going to be loud again. So anyways, I think it's just great that this video about control is definitely everything I was thinking about sharing with you guys. In our experience with this pandemic, we have felt like we've lost our sense of control. We have been humbled and realize that the things that we have control over, the list is a lot smaller than what we really thought it was, especially in a society where we have been able to control every aspect of our experiences, as far as controlling our TV watch times, with our streaming constantly, with modifying our playlists for videos, with modifying our playlists for our songs. This is something that we have been able to control. We don't have to listen to commercials anymore. We don't have to listen to songs that we didn't like, growing up. Whenever I was a kid, we had the radio and we listened to the songs, and if we didn't like that song, we switched to another station and we tried to listen to a different song. But most of the time we just listened through it until our favorite song came on, and we were so excited. So this sense of control that we have developed as a society is pretty amazing and convenient and helpful at times. But when we really start to lose that convenience and access to those things, it starts to really rock our foundation a little bit and make us feel like we're out of control completely. So we have to start going back to the basics and remember that even though we have these convenient things that give us instant access to things, and our delayed gratification has decreased, even though we have those things in a modern society, and it's really nice, the reality of it is whenever we get back to the basics, we really don't have as much control over things as we would like to have, or that we think we have, maybe. Because sometimes having control over things like that causes more stress, because then we feel like we're in more control of things, to the point that it could even impact our relationships and impact our stress levels, things like that. So when we humble ourselves and realize that the things that we have control over, the list is small, sometimes it really helps us to practice some mindfulness and get back to who we are as a person, and feel like our burdens that we carry and the load that we carry is a lot smaller as well. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about ways to gain a sense of control during the pandemic and the quarantine, though, because I know that a sense of control is helpful for us whenever we are talking about mental stability and emotional stability. So it is important for us to have some control over our lives. But what type of control? And why is it important? Those are questions I think we need to ask. I think that the things that we should have control over is ourselves. If we feel like we're not having control over ourselves, then we need to be asking different types of questions. Maybe some of the things that can help us feel more stable and in control during a quarantine would be creating daily routines of things that we have control over. like creating bedtime routines. Sleep hygiene is so important for our mental stability, our physical health, our emotional health. We don't want our circadian rhythms to start getting off balance. So maintaining a healthy sleep schedule where we go to bed and have healthy bedtime routines that help us to prepare our bodies for sleep, and we sleep at the same time and we wake at the same time, those help our bodies to prepare for wellness. And so having a bedtime routine is one thing that we can have control over. Now, sometimes if you work a different shift or something like that, it's difficult to have consistent bedtime routines. I understand that. Sometimes work challenges that, but we can try to modify it to do what's within our control. And that's the question that we have to ask is, what is it that I do have control over, and what is it that I don't have control over, and how can I accept that and modify things to help myself feel balanced, and what is it that's my responsibility? So exercise routines, that's another one. That's something that is so helpful for feeling like we're in control. If we have a routine where we could say, okay, wake up in the morning, I'm going to do yoga in the morning, and I'm going to go for a walk after dinner. That's something within your control of deciding. Now, within reasonable context, of course, with the social distancing requirements, some cities are restricting times that you can be outside and things like that, but there are other accesses that you can have for exercise. You don't have to leave your house. You can do an exercise routine where you do some planks, and you don't even have to move for those. You just have to lay on the floor for so many minutes with yourself held up, which is pretty difficult if you're trying to do it for the very first time. So just developing something to help you increase your energy can be beneficial and helpful for your mental stability and your physical stability, and feeling like you're in control during this quarantine. Other things that you can do is meal times, preparing meal times, planning for those meal times, and planning meals. That helps to ensure that we are focused on making sure our body is getting the nutrients that it needs. We're not skipping meals. We're having balanced meals that help us to ensure that our blood sugar levels and everything else stays in sync, and that way we don't have any mood issues or increased anxiety or problems that might be occurring because of those things. When we talk about self-control, we need to be thinking in general about the whole self. That's nutrition-wise, sleep-wise. So sleep and rest and healing are all similar, and they happen together. So we need all three. We need to be sleeping and resting in order for our body to heal. And we need to be eating on a regular basis healthy meals so that our bodies can heal as well, and make sure that we're staying hydrated and fed. It helps to decrease unnecessary stress whenever we feel like we've planned our meals and we have an idea of what our meals are going to look like. That takes one thing off the list that we're stressed out about having to scramble to find food whenever we are setting our bodies screaming, saying, okay, we're starving right now, we're really hungry, feed me. So we start to just scramble and try to find ingredients. Well, if you've planned out your meal, then you're not going to have to scramble to find the ingredients. So that's something that's one less stressor that you can be in control of during the quarantine. If for some reason you have issues with actually having the resources to meet those basic needs, then there are community resources that are out there that you can reach out to. There's clearinghouses, there's churches, there's other nonprofit organizations in your community that I'm sure if you did a quick search on the internet or reached out to someone that you know, they might be able to put you in touch with a resource to make sure that all of those basic needs are met, so that you can mark this off your list and feel like you have a little bit more control in your life, because you can meet those basic needs. The other things that we can do to feel like we're in control and have more mental stability is to schedule relaxation time. Relaxation time is so important. It's definitely different than sleep time, because we want to be intentional about our attention and our focus. You know, attention is the mind's most valuable resource. And so it is so important for us to make sure that we are intentional about relaxing and taking time to unwind and find things that really bring us peace. Another thing that we can schedule and feel like we have control over is playing and socializing, making sure that we are intentional about making connections with our friends. We can do that through video calls. We can do that over the phone. We can do that by scheduling video time for us to play games and do things like that. We can play board games online through social media, if everybody has the same board game in their home, or you can actually do some actual video games online, which is something where you get in those chat rooms and you do some stuff. VR, meet in a VR session and chat with your friends, or just call them on the phone or text them. That's always nice too. It is so important for us to stay connected and feel like we schedule that time and make it intentional that we want to spend time with our friends and family. But not just spending time with our friends and family, making sure that we schedule time to have fun and play. So being sure that we ask ourselves, what is it that brings us joy? And we laugh together or find something that we find interesting and want to engage in to try to boost our spirits and help us to feel positive about things and have more joy in our lives. So these are just some tips of things that we can feel more self-control. Sometimes it's important for us just to check in with ourselves and ask ourselves what it is that we need to feel like we have more self-control. That's often helpful. There's also situations that are going to come up as we have this social distancing restrictions lessened and people are getting back to work more. We're going to notice that things have changed a little bit for us, and there's going to be even restrictions that we weren't aware of that are placed on things. I know when I tried to go to the store the other day, it was a electronics store that I needed to go pick something up at. They had a restriction to where you actually had to make an appointment to go into the store prior to attending or prior to shopping there. And so you had to go to the make an appointment online. And then there was also the option that you could do curbside and pull up to the curb, and then they would say, okay, what is it that you need? And then they would bring out whatever it was that they needed and tell you, which one of these do you want? And that was it. And so they didn't have what I needed. I told them what I needed, and they brought out two and said, this is all we have and this is all we're going to get in. And it was a big chain, electronic. So for me, that was awkward and weird and took some control away in the fact that I'm used to being able to walk into a store and browse the aisles and say, what do I need? Do a little bit of impulse buying if I'm, walking down there going, oh yeah, I needed that too, but this is not the situation anymore. Things have changed, and I'm gonna be heading back to work in a few weeks, I'm sure, to be doing more live sessions and not telehealth. And I'm sure things are going to be even more different as I am in society more than I am now, because we have been quarantining a lot and restricting our trips to town to only do that if necessary. And I think it's going to change a lot. So that's one thing that I have to ask, and that it's important for us to ask. Are we going to be able to maintain a sense of self-control or sense of control? And what is it that we have control over? And as things change, are there going to be things that we find that we thought we had control over, but in reality, we don't? We have more restrictions over it. So I think this is a time that we really need to be asking these questions to ourselves. And we are going to be growing and learning together. So have patience, be kind, remember what we have control over, back to the basics, try to find some joy and peace. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to post more for Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm going to continue to post even after that. I do have a talk show that we've been doing where I've interviewed other therapists and we talk about all sorts of topics, so check that out. It's going to be on Fridays at noon. The timing might actually change on that, but we'll see. I already have some uploaded if you want to check some of those out. Some really, really interesting people that we've talked to, and I've really enjoyed learning from them and growing through this process. So if you like this video, like it and share it with your friends, please, and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know whenever we have new content. Thanks again and have a wonderful night. Bye.